Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our offices are located in beautiful, warming very quickly, downtown Olivet, Missouri. I am a 45-year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined this week and every single week by my stellar crew, my oldest prodigal daughter, Aaron Lapidus, who is a certified financial planner, as well as a wealth manager, and my son-in-law, Rob Markham, who also is a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager, and our life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning. We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a real strategy, a real game plan, a step-by-step strategy with several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one they can count on so they can do all the things they'd like to do in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Good morning, kiddies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to everybody who's out there listening in the public. Thank you so much for tuning into our 2-hour show where we have lots of fun things on our mind. What's more important is, what's on yours? Give us a call today. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line. And as a reminder, also, is that all of our clients are folks like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And as Aaron mentioned, our goal is to create a game plan for them so they can have a fun, financially successful, and hopefully worry-free retirement. And there are lots of ways, if you like, to keep in touch with us during the week.
That's right. Log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click on the Contact Us button. You can send us a question during the program, and hopefully we'll be able to answer it live on the air, or we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Or if you'd like to set up a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both, click on that Contact Us button, and we will get back to you within the next business day. You can also click on the lower left-hand side of the screen that says sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's a pop-up box that'll appear on almost every page that you click on. And if you sign up, we will send you our monthly newsletter by email, or you can access it on our website. We do keep about the last 18 months logged for you to peruse. And Rob, as we are in the first weekend of July, give us a little preview of our new newsletter.
Got some great articles in our July 2024 newsletter you're certainly going to want to check out. The first one being Bon Voyage. Post-pandemic levels of travel have just reclaimed their pre-COVID levels. U.S. citizens took about 99 million trips in 2023 compared to 98 million in 2019, just before the pandemic. And we've got a nice infographic showing where Americans are doing most of their traveling, and between Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. That's like 75% of the travel. I thought people would be going off to Europe, but no. It looks like they're staying somewhat local.
20% of people, I guess.
Our next...
Staying in the civilized world.
There
Those
you go.
exchange rates are pretty good.
That's what I was hearing about Japan. They say there's been an influx of Americans traveling to Japan because of the yen's weakness and the dollar's strength has made...
All-time differential, I think,
yeah,
right?
Very interesting. Be a cool place to go. Our next article, what to watch out for on the road to retirement. Great article highlighting some of the things that might get in the way of saving for retirement and how to avoid that, whether it's investing too aggressively, investing too conservatively, or using your retirement accounts to, say, buy a new car, unexpected home repair, vacation, etc. This article will lay out some things that you're going to want to avoid on that road to retirement. And our next article, asset allocation and diversification. There's no right or wrong asset allocation. The right allocation depends on your age, risk tolerance, time horizon, and specific goals. That said, this is an informative article that will help you understand the principles of establishing balance, adding diversification, and staying on target by monitoring the portfolio and changing when necessary. And our last article, after a loss, watch out for scammers. We've talked a lot about what to do when a loved one dies on Straight Talk on Retirement, whether it's papers to gather, extra death certificates, starting a notebook, etc., writing things down, etc., etc. Well, I guess we can add a new one to that list. Watching out for scammers. Scammers will be on the lookout for any detail they can exploit, whether from obituaries, funeral homes, social media websites. Might want to avoid putting too much information into an obituary. Avoid using birthdays, places of birth, addresses, mother's maiden name. Just want to be wary of people who are aggressively trying to pressure you to get a debt repaid. As I like to joke with my dad, that will never work with me, because if I was being aggressively pursued by someone, trying to get, that my dad owed money, I'd be like, you better dig him up. He's right over there. So that one wouldn't work with me, but
you better dig him up.
That's what I would say. But that is your July 2024 monthly newsletter, there for your perusal and downloading pleasure.
That's great. And like I said, you can log on to our website to find a lot of additional information. We've got videos. We have old approved shows that are able to be listened to. We've started titling them. Unfortunately, we go through so many topics during our 2 hours that I try to hit the highlights and the titles of our shows. But I did just recently have a client email that asked, do we have any shows regarding 529 plans? Do we have any newsletters with 529 plan information in them? And we were able to pick and choose a few things out. So if you're looking for a specific topic and you don't see it readily available, you can always send us an email, Aaron@jblfinancial.com, or Rob, he would be good, Robert@jblfinancial.com. If you're looking for a specific topic in one of the newsletters, he can probably help you find a past one, because we do cover a pretty good breadth of topics.
Exactly. And our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
We actually have a great text to kick off this show this morning. Pension question. In Q4, so in quarter 4 of 2025, I plan to take a monthly annuity. I am a single male, currently 63 with no dependents. If the single life annuity is selected and I die within a few years after taking the annuity, my estate would lose a large sum of money. To minimize a large potential loss, I am considering a 50% joint and survivor annuity with my cousin as the beneficiary. Currently age 77. This option would allow the payout to continue if I were to die within a few years after taking the annuity. My cousin would not be dependent on the income. Should I take the 50% joint percentage contingent annuity, or should I consider other options? So the first thing that I would say is The good news is taking the 100%, the life-only annuity is going to give you the largest payout. And unfortunately, I don't believe, Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, the only individual eligible to receive a portion of the payout is a spouse.
Generally, that's true unless the plan document permits otherwise.
So before you make a selection, you definitely want to talk to the plan administrator to confirm that generally spouses are the only individuals eligible to receive a portion of a pension payout. Usually you cannot assign it to children, cousins, even charities. You might only be eligible for the life only, which isn't a bad deal because you get the highest payout. Or the other alternative would be if you're concerned about a loss of capital with an untimely demise, if there's a lump sum option available to you, that would be an alternative to maintain the asset inside of your estate.
Yes, and certainly one other option, depending on your health, is you might consider looking at the difference between the price, that is the payout, of a survivor option if it's available to you and the life-only option. And what many of our clients will then do is elect the life-only option. What they'll also do is purchase a life insurance policy as a way to create the proceeds and replace that lump sum that is lost. So that there are options that are out there. Again, I would certainly agree, though, honey, you do have to start with the plan administrator.
Right, because you want to confirm before you head down a path that that's even an eligible option for you.
The only time I saw a non-spouse that was put on one of these contracts was a woman used her son as a joint and survivor.
Through a pension?
It was a pension election, and she was able to elect her son. That was the only non-spouse time I've ever even heard of that.
Yeah, and typically the pension plans don't really want to do that because of the difference in life expectancy. If you're choosing somebody that's within 10 years, generally that's sort of the maximum age spread with spouses. It's fine, but if you're using a child, or it could be 30 years, so
right,
you're really putting the pension on the hook. But again, always start with your plan document. That's the Bible that tells you what can and can't be done. And, again, you'll want to do this before you can. Again, certainly.
Since you're not making the election until Q4 of next year, right. You have time. But, hey, if you have more time you have to plan, the better. Yes,
absolutely. And if that's an option, I guess one other option would be is that since you're employed, you have group life insurance. You might also want to consider the conversion option of that life insurance at the time if you're leaving, so that beneficiary could be your cousin if that's who you're thinking about leaving the money to.
Right.
All good.
And our next texter writes, at 80 years of age, would it be wise to exchange my mutual funds for CDs? Thank you.
You've come this far, man. Man, at 80, but seriously, at 80, think of all of the, we always have this recency bias of the last big pullback that we had in the market, but at 80, or even for the majority of the individuals listening to us in their 50s and 60s, think of all the major pullbacks you've already survived and seen new highs in your portfolio, most likely.
Well, yeah, let's look at this. Let's try to answer this question with as little information as we have from two different perspectives. The first one is, let's assume that these mutual funds are owned after tax.
Ooh.
Versus inside of a IRA
retirement account.
So one advantage of not getting rid of these mutual funds is that the people that inherit them from you, in 30 years or so.
Right. When you are like Moses and make it to 110.
Exactly. They will get a step up in basis to the fair market value of those securities. So what I would certainly say is maybe you want to think about what portion of these assets are needed for you for income purposes and what portion is for growth. The growth part I certainly would want to retain in growth-oriented investments. If some of this is needed for income purposes, well, maybe you might consider a conversion, but to fixed income certificates.
Well, also the other way to do that would be, depending upon the size of the portfolio, especially if it's in an after-tax account, as opposed to letting the mutual funds invest dividends and interest that are being accrued.
Go to cash.
Go to cash, and then you can say, hey, this is a way I'll diversify into some CDs or other fixed income instruments. Take the cash and purchase the CDs with that, because one, you're going to pay taxes on that anyway, so you're not creating a new taxable event for yourself by, especially if you've held these mutual funds for any length of time, you could be looking at some significant long-term capital gains to have to pay to liquidate. And also, let's look at it now from the other perspective, which is if it's inside of an IRA.
Well, inside of an IRA, we know that at age 80, you're consuming at least 5%.
Because, right, you got to take the required minimum distribution.
And those numbers are going to continue to increase. So if you want to go into something that's a little bit safer, that's fine. If you have been invested, and assuming that you're invested in stock mutual funds, which is why you're asking this question, your portfolio may have grown in the last 18 months, as many of our clients have seen through their their stock invested mutual funds.
Sure.
This may be a time for you not to just get out, but maybe to rebalance.
Right.
Get back into that balance that so if you were interested in maybe being a little more conservative or getting into a balanced approach, well, maybe you'll take a portion of that. But certainly I would say if you have an IRA account, which includes some of these things, this is a great rebalancing tool because you can make changes in that account without having any capital gains or ordinary income until the money is then later distributed.
And you'd probably want to ladder those CDs if it's inside of an IRA, correct? So you're not creating any penalties when you have to take your required minimum distribution.
Absolutely. So you can be very, the problem is at this moment, we're kind of in the middle. Is the Fed, the market wants the Fed to lower interest rates, but
the
unfortunately,
economy doesn't really indicate that yet.
I agree with you. And then there's the other shoe, which is if they do lower rates, the economy slows. This is supposed to perk it back up again. Well, eventually rates are going to go up again.
Because
anyways,
they're going to have to.
And so where are you going to be? If you're taking out a long-term CD, well, this you could say, well, this could be a good time, but maybe a year from now, it's not a good time, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now. So I would certainly say, as Aaron was mentioning here, laddering CDs to meet maturities, which could be equal to, appropriate, or close to what a required minimum distribution would be, makes sense, thereby leaving other things to grow. It's all good. So a very good question.
2 great questions so far this morning.
Appreciate that this morning. Again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877, or let's hear some more text, right?
Yeah.
We love the 84126 text line. Love to hear that. I was going to say that I did, while we're waiting for more calls and texts, I did want to get to an email which happened to sneak through the server to me this morning, babe.
Oh, that's what I get for taking a day off.
Well, there you go. Exactly. And this is from Barry.
Barry
writes me, he says, Jeff, I've been a regular listener for several years. Having Aaron join you has made a great show even better.
Oh, what
Isn't
a
it
kind
nice?
email.
Thank you, Cousin Barry.
Right.
Her command of healthcare and the financial planning topics impresses me every week, and Rob has also been a fabulous addition. So thank you so much, Barry. Appreciate that. As I'm 2 years away from my planned retirement, I'm taking a considerable amount of time studying many of the decisions I'll have to make, including my investments, Social Security, and healthcare choices. And your show has helped as well. As I have made all of my choices without a coach, do I need one?
Man, Barry's already on the move. Made all of his choices 2 years out.
You know what we like to say? Maybe. Maybe not. And there's a reason, right?
Of course. The decisions today are becoming increasingly complex, even more so than they were in the past. Laws have changed. Social Security rules have changed over time.
Just recently, the Secure 2.0 Act came and jumbled up a lot of different things. So it's not so much what you know that can hurt you. It's what you don't know or what's changed and what you did know from what you do know now.
Absolutely.
And also, it's very difficult, even for the smartest people, to make objective assessments when it comes to making choices about their money. It's true. I mean, Aaron is my advisor when your mom's on vacation. And, you know, it's good to have someone else come in with a discriminating eye, right? Somebody's going to look at this without an axe to grind and say, maybe sometimes play devil's advocate, sometimes be an enabler, right?
Right.
Giving you confirmation, and really helping you see the things that you don't see, because it is a very complicated web. And I'd also say, Barry, is that, you know, if your most valuable asset is time, could you be investing it in other ways that will bring more pleasure to you in your life?
Right, because the goal in retirement is to be retired. You don't want another full-time job of managing your retirement necessarily. Right. Some people enjoy that, though. Exactly,
and I think that's an important question you have to ask. You know, I would just leave you with this thought. In September, at my club, Norwood Hills, they're going to be hosting the Ascension Champions Tour golf event, which has been fun. This is the 4th year. And many of the greatest golfers in the world, they used to be anyways, because it's the senior tour, are going to be there. Many of them have coaches that come with them. If they're in the crowds, they follow them. And you see this even on the Pro Tour where they go, oh, yeah, look, there's Tiger's coaches out there. Well, Tiger doesn't need a coach anymore. He just needs a retirement coach.
He needs a retirement coach.
Well, yeah, he
aren't the caddies also kind of coaches too?
I always thought that they were always given advice and
advisors of some sort.
Yeah,
club management,
club selection.
They're also there for emotional support. But I was going to say a lot of swing coaches are going there. But you know, if the greatest athletes in the world have coaches, shouldn't you have one too? Well, you know, for us, coaching sessions, they're all fun and they're free at our offices. There's never any cost or any obligation. And one promise that we make is that you will come out with more clarity than when you came in. Maybe that's valuable in and of itself. That's easy to do. You can always give us a call, 314-863-0008. Again, 314-863-0008. And Barry, thanks so much for that email this morning, because I really do appreciate that. And who knows, maybe you're a maybe, or maybe not. You never know until you have a coaching session, right?
That's exactly right.
Good. Should we take our first break?
Let's do it.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
It's time to make a summertime splash with Dogtown Pizza. Hi, Josh here, and what better way to feed that hungry pool party than with a couple of Dogtown pizzas? And with 11 different varieties, there's something for every swimmer this summer. Who wants hamburgers from the grill when you can have it on your pizza? And fresh from the garden, it's tomato, basil, garlic. Just remember to wait 45 minutes before diving back in. Make a splash this summer with Dogtown Pizza.
We welcome you to our great big small town of Belleville, Illinois. Whether you want to enjoy fabulous food in our restaurants, enjoy shopping at our one-of-a-kind boutiques, or you want to enjoy live music weekly throughout our downtown, Belleville is the perfect place to relax and unwind. For more information about Belleville, Illinois, please visit belleville.net or bellevillemainstreet.net. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
Wouldn't it be great if one company handled all your home service needs? Heidi here for Neighborly of St. Louis, your trusted hub for all your home services. And now, Mr. Reuter, Mr. Electric, and Property Medic are servicing St. Charles County. Property Medic offers drywall repair services, and Mr. Electric now offers easy online booking via Google and NeighborlySTL.com. The Neighborly Done Right promise ensures the job will always be done right. For all your home service needs, visit NeighborlySTL.com.
Find summer savings now at appliance discounters on the most dependable washer and dryer, Speed Queen. With an average life expectancy of 25 years, for a limited time, the Speed Queen Classic Series, you'll receive a $300 cash rebate via the mail. Appliance Discounters is the largest locally owned dealer in the metropolitan area. They buy more than the other guys and sell for less. Always 12 months free financing. Find the new Speed Queen at Appliance Discounters online at theappliancediscounters.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Lang. Join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 on the Big 550 for Animal Talk, where I talk about everything regarding dogs, cats, and other domestic animals. Topics include nutrition, training, medical checkups, special guests show up now and then, and of course, I'll answer your questions. So join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 for Animal Talk on the Big 550 KTRS, the Animal Talk of St. Louis.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's 9:31 here on the Big 550 KTRS. This is Straight Talk on Retirement. Halfway through hour number one, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. You know, it's kind of fun. The kids, talking about Aaron and Rob, came in and visited with me last week because they had a fun coaching session they want to talk a little bit about. And I'm going to call this one Family Fun on the Farm. Well, that's what it was, right?
Absolutely.
It's a family farm.
Aaron and I had a great coaching session with James and Eileen this week. James and Eileen are in their 70s, living across the river in Illinois, retired and enjoying traveling, spending time with their 12-year-old granddaughter, Emily. And unfortunately, James's brother recently passed away and left the farm in Illinois to James. It is a working farm with a yearly income after taxes of about $30,000. James and Eileen decided they want to keep the farm, but were unsure with what to do with the income it produces.
This is a great question. Well, I mean, this is a great situation to have because many of our farmers actually live off of a lot of the income produced from family farms.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, and I would just add to this that I think we're really starting to see I would call it a generational change.
Yes.
Many of our clients, they're selling the farms. I mean, what's happening is
they're inheriting them from parents.
Right. And if there's a sibling if they have a sibling that's working on the farm, usually they're selling their interest to the sibling, but otherwise we're seeing a lot of family farms turning over.
That is true. Illinois farmland is so valuable, though. I mean, it's fabulous. So being able to want to keep it in the family is excellent. I know that James and Eileen rent it out, so it's not work on their behalf. You know, mom and dad were renting out the land. They weren't farming it themselves, so that can make a difference.
You know, it's fun, though, so they've got some extra cash flow here, right?
Absolutely, because Social Security and the distributions from Jim and Eileen's IRA accounts are more than sufficient to meet their income needs. And since they're already in their 70s, they're required to take those distributions from their IRA account. So we can't really, say, let's swap that farm income for what you were taking from your IRAs and just change your tax situation that way. They have to take those IRA distributions.
And they were already rock stars, so
Absolutely.
Later in the discussion, we turned to Emily and what would be some of the options to get her some of that income if we so desired.
That's a great question. And it's nice to start to bring the next generation into the family farm because, like you said, Dad, the more connected the family is to the farm, the more likely it's going to stay in the family if that is a goal.
Actually, the part I liked is that they were skipping the parents.
Just skipping right over.
They're skipping right over. It's called. We want to do something to help the next generation, right?
So they had started reading about Roth IRAs and realized, that would be great because Emily eventually would be able to take that money out tax-free. But unfortunately, you need earned income in order to do that.
Well, I mean, that's good in a way because, never too early to start sweeping floors. The hay isn't going to stack itself. And, when is work on a farm ever done? I mean, when is that? So, yeah, I mean, that could work in Emily's case. We could get her a job at the farm.
I mean, that's a great point. If Emily were to earn about up to $7,000 this year in wages from her hay baling, then that's the maximum Grandma and Grandpa could contribute to a Roth IRA in her name. It's whatever's greater. So basically, whatever the wages are, or $7,000, that's the most you can put in. But Emily has to earn at least $7,000 to be able to put the maximum in. So if she earns $7,001, you could put the full $7,000 in. If she only earned $6,000 would be the maximum contribution. Now it is locked away in there until Emily gets to 59.5, which Grandma and Grandpa might think is a great thing because they're starting to help Emily with essentially creating her retirement, or they might see that as a little bit of a drawback if they want her to have access to the money a little bit sooner. She's only 12, so maybe the first car, college education, down payment on a house, things like that. There are a few exceptions, right, to be able to get money out of the Roth early. First home purchase is one of those things. College education, I believe, is another. So you do have some flexibility, but there might be some other options.
Absolutely. And, one thing that I suggested that they consider is forming a family limited partnership. They would be the general partners, so they're retaining operational control. And they could name her as a limited partner. And even if they want to, add the parents in as limited partners as a way of parsing the income off to those partners.
So using this example, we said that the farm generates about $30,000 of income. If they decided to create the family limited partnership, then let's say Emily is the only limited partner, she might get 1% of the $30,000 distribution, which is what, $300?
Or they could make her an income partner.
Okay.
Et cetera, and also at the same time, she could participate in the equity buildup in that, because we know farms tend to appreciate, land appreciates over time because they don't make any more of it.
Right.
Right. So that could be something that could be real valuable as also being an estate planning tool.
So what happens if Emily becomes part of the limited partnership? What happens when Grandma and Grandpa pass away? Does she get a full step up in basis of the value of the farm, or is part of it her retained basis?
Well, she'll actually have two bases. She'll have the basis that she had in the limited partnership shares that she owned. But then if she was to receive those general partner shares, they would be stepped up to fair market value. The other thing is to remember is that limited partner shares from an estate planning point of view are valued at less than
the general partner shares.
Exactly, the general partner shares.
So it wouldn't necessarily be a negative tax consequence. It actually would most likely, in the years that Grandma and Grandpa are alive, be positive. It would reduce their taxable income. It would move some taxable income to Emily. Oh,
and the other thing is, let's think about this down the road. And we've had this also. I had another discussion with another client about this the other day. They're 70 right now. What happens in 15 years? Maybe they're not in a position where, from a health point of view, they can continue to be the general partners. Or maybe they're not around. Mm-hmm. Okay? Or maybe they're not interested. And who knows where Emily's interests are going to go. I mean, maybe she becomes a child that says, hey, I want to be a farmer or a rancher, whatever it would be. Putting them in a position where they could begin to move
more shares
to her, right. That's one of the beauties of creating a partnership here, is that because you can create partnership shares, increase that ownership, and they could, if they wanted to, then pass on limited partner shares or even sell them if they wanted to.
And this works not just in a family farm situation, but it could work if you are a family that has accumulated portions of real estate, you have rental income.
Absolutely.
There are probably many other types of businesses in which a limited partnership would be an interesting potential planning alternative for you down the line, just dependent on if you need the income or not.
No question about that.
How does, if someone were interested in discussing a family limited partnership, is this something that you would work with an attorney to establish?
Absolutely. We do need to get somebody who's a tax expert involved in this area, and that's really what a attorney would be able to do, provide us with that, as well as also not only expertise, but also writing a document.
Okay.
That creates it, just like we did with our world headquarters, right?
And so then that means that all of the partners, general and limited, would receive K-1s for whatever payouts they received every year to file with their taxes.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting if we sort of look at our situation, we have a commercial building, which we created an LLC partnership for.
That the business rents the building.
Exactly. They're the sole tenant. Not unusual. And so what happens is your mom and I, the owners, we're depreciating this building over a period of time. And what happens is that you're a minority shareholder, but at the time of our passing, this is a part of your inheritance. You're going to receive this building, but the nice part is you're going to get a step up to the fair market value.
And I don't have to recapture the depreciation.
Exactly, because we're not selling the building. So, but you get your own schedule. Whoop.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's very cool. That's why.
And that is why I brought up that this strategy doesn't necessarily only have to apply to. We have many family farms, but we also have many other types of businesses that this might be an interesting alternative for clients.
Absolutely. And, this whole concept, and Rob, I really thought expressed it perfectly, which is, are they old enough to pick up a broom?
Oh,
are
I
they
actually? The hay isn't going to stack itself.
Well,
it isn't.
It isn't unusual for children, grandchildren, to go to work with mom or dad or grandpa. It's
they
just
want to
not
help.
Right.
I remember wanting to help grandma. My grandma was a 4th grade teacher, grade papers, set up her room. Now I was never paid for these services.
Well, that's right. But again, when you have a legitimate business,
sure,
and people are providing duties, whatever it might be. It's funny because I have some interesting conversations on the golf course with folks because they know who I am and they ask me questions. It would be surprising about how, at least to me, is how many people that have spouses that don't work in the business and may even be retired or not working, etc.
But they do the books, or they
do the books, or frankly, they're a valued advisor,
sure,
to the business, that they're not on the payroll. It's like, why?
Because you'd be paying into Social Security, potentially help bumping their benefit, deferring. You get all payroll is tax deductible for a business.
Absolutely, honey. And so even like using the same example as we're doing here with Emily, the grandchild, they could put their spouse on the payroll for $13,000 a year.
Right.
Not an unreasonable wage for even a part-time person, etc. And defer all of the income into a retirement account.
Almost all of it. Only $7,000.
Well, no, that's an IRA. I'm talking about what if they have a company-sponsored plan, whether it's a 401k or a simple, etc. What they could do is they could make a full contribution of all the wages.
That's a good point.
Even catch-up provisions.
Right, when she gets to over 50.
Yeah, absolutely. So all these are legitimate things that can be done. We're not going into the gray areas here in the tax code.
Not manipulating anything, really, just using the rules to your advantage.
Absolutely not. But the code's really there to help you do these things. Right. And so that's why getting some advice, getting a second opinion can help you. And as I said a little bit earlier, we were talking about Barry. It's hard to look outside yourself, and look at these situations. And what could I really be doing that I'm not? Well, you're always thinking you're doing the most, but sometimes you're not.
Well, also, Jim and Eileen came perfect situation where it's like, we've got an idea. How do we execute it? Or we thought of one solution. Are there others out there that might be available to us?
Yeah, and we also didn't get the easy one, which is gifting. I mean, they can always gift. There's no tax consequences or help for them, but they could gift up to $18,000.
I think it's $19,000 now, right? Oh, it's 18.
It moved to 18 this year, and then also they can do that double. So looking at, they could go up to $36,000. They could gift to Emily. They don't get any tax benefit from it, but again,
per human being. So grandma can gift 18, and grandpa can gift 18 to the same individual.
It's awesome.
That is pretty cool. Now, that doesn't limit their tax liability on the income from the farm.
Right.
It does gift Emily some money, though.
Absolutely.
So there's a few options, or that just means there's some more ways to get her even additional money. The $13,000 of into the retirement account if they'd go that route, plus another 18, which would be an actual gift.
Well, you're right.
If they wanted to.
And realistically, let's just assume that Emily wasn't in the picture here also as an alternative. Well, there wasn't Emily, so what do we do with 30? Well, I'm sure that you're probably doing something with the farm, even the two of them.
Oh, put themselves on the payroll.
Exactly. Put yourselves on the payroll.
Well, you're the administrators of the. Even if you're not farming it, you have to administer the rent or whatever arrangement you have.
Upkeep of the property, logistics. Like there's a whole bunch of things that go into it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. They could make contributions to IRAs, as you said, right? $8,000 each. They could create a simple if they wanted to and put in a little bit more. But again, even though they have to pull money out because they're
over 73, so yeah.
So they have to do that. It still makes sense because they're only pulling 4% of what they put in out.
And they can pull, that's
absolutely.
Fair.
So lots of good alternatives.
And let's get to this text question before we take our second break of the hour.
And our next texter writes, if my spouse waited until his full retirement age of 67 to take his Social Security, but I take mine early at 62, if he passes and I switch to his Social Security for the survivor benefits, will those survivor benefits be affected because I took my Social Security early at 62?
No. The great news is that they will not be affected. Now, they will be affected by your age. If you're under 67 years old and your spouse passes away, so if you're under your full retirement and you take the survivor benefit, it could be discounted. But if you've reached your full retirement age, you're going to receive the full survivor benefit. So your original election has no bearing on the survivor benefit. However, when you elect it, so I just want to be clear about that, when you elect it will have an impact on the survivor benefit. As long as you're over normal retirement age, there's no impact. If you're under, you may see a discount.
So the moral of the story is keep that person around for a little while.
5 more years.
Right. So that because at the end of the day, again, it's your age that's going to determine whether there's a discount in the benefit. So waiting until your normal retirement age to get rid of that person, that's cool.
Right. So just think about each election as independent. So you elected at 62, you saw a discount in your own benefit. When you elect the survivor benefit, whatever age you are will determine if there is a discount to that benefit. But your original election had no bearing on the second election.
Well put. And so with that said, why don't we take our second break of the hour? When we come back, we're going to be here to take your calls and texts at 314-931-5877 or 84126. We'll be right back.
Golfers, tee times at Four Seasons Country Club are filling fast. This 9-hole gem at Olive & Woods Mill in Chesterfield is giving players what they expect. It's in superb condition, and it's a shot-making challenge. Now open to the public, this layout suits ladies, seniors, and juniors. Extreme Bar Bingo on Thursday night and pub trivia on Friday evening are free of charge. But first, book your tee time on the course website or Golf Now. Four Seasons Country Club, a convenient location for the metro area golfer looking for a tucked-away golfing surprise.
Sure, AAA are the folks who can get you back on the road when you have a flat tire. They can also provide quality and affordable home and auto insurance. But when you think of AAA, think of this too, AAA Travel. Hi, it's Julie Buck, and AAA Travel is ready to plan your next trip or vacation. And you don't have to be a member to enjoy their services. Of course, membership does have its privileges. To find a AAA advisor near you, just visit AAA.com/travel. Remember, the internet is for looking. AAA.com/travel is for booking.
When you go and get your car washed, do you really care which car wash you go to? Yes, because not all car washes are created equal. Country Club Car Wash is the local family-owned and family-operated car wash since 1989. All these other ones that are popping up, they're all run by out-of-town hedge funds. Keep it local. Keep it great. Touchless car washes, no brushes, inside and out. 5 area locations, Country Club Car Wash or cccwstl.com.
Baron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirrors, glass, and shower doors. You can't find better quality, better prices, or even better service than at Baron Mirror Glass and Door. Baron Mirror Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs. Our must-see showroom is conveniently located in Chesterfield Valley. We have the basics all the way up to the elite. Baron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat.
Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Lang. Join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 on the Big 550 for Animal Talk, where I talk about everything regarding dogs, cats, and other domestic animals. Topics include nutrition, training, medical checkups, special guests show up now and then, and of course, I'll answer your questions. So join me every Sunday afternoon from 2 to 3 for Animal Talk on the Big 550 KTRS, the Animal Talk of St. Louis.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're here in our last 10 minutes of this hour, and don't forget we're going to have another hour of power starting at 10 o'clock. And we're here to answer your phone calls and texts to 314-931-5877 or 84126 from text line. Most closely held, privately held companies, they're fun to work with. And we know that in helping them in planning, whether it's for retirement planning and or estate planning, that company, that asset generally is the most valuable asset that they have and source of income. And so passing on the family business in a way that makes sense for the owner, something I want to talk a little bit about today. And specifically, I have a friend, John, and his wife who own a wholesale plumbing supply business here in the city. They have 2 children, 2 boys, who have been active in the business for over 20 years. So these kids have been there. They're seasoned veterans, if you would, etc. And they're looking at mom and dad going, your time has come.
Oh, no.
And mom and dad are looking at them and going, do, re, mi. Because what happens is for most business owners, it's difficult to, you don't want to sell your business to your kids. You would like to pass it on. Okay. But at the same time, you may not have created as much inside of your retirement plan as you could have or should have or would have because you've been investing in your business. So it may be necessary to unlock some of that value, i.e. cash flow, to them. So you can maintain your lifestyle so the boys can go and wreck the business.
That's optimistic.
Well, interesting. No, the second generation either makes it go or makes it go bye-bye.
I think isn't it something like 50% of family businesses fail in the second generation?
Exactly, which is why I have a daughter, so there's 100% certainty it's going to be perfect.
It's going to be perfect.
Perfect, exactly.
That is high praise. Thank you.
You're welcome, babe. So what are some of the options that we can think about so that we can transition the ownership of the company to the boys, but still take care of mom and dad? Let's talk about it. Well, there's an easy one, right? The first one is mom and dad can send the boys to the bank. So,
And what do they get to co-sign on the loan?
Bro, I was just thinking that.
no. If you have a valuable business, one that obviously the kids have been in it for 20 years, they have something that's created cash flow. They most likely have been borrowing anyways.
Right.
Maybe in assistance with either accounts payable or accounts receivable, or possibly just for general working capital purposes. They have a relationship with a banker. Go, Mr. Banker, we're going to buy mom and dad. Okay. So can the company sustain the cash flow necessary for the repayment of this loan? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. That's number one. Or what could happen is maybe there's an internal sale. An installment sale
over a period of years.
Exactly, pay it to me over a period of years. And usually, when that kind of happens, is it's usually like a 2-part sale: assets, and then goodwill.
And also, isn't this a nice alternative to a bank loan, because you could keep mom and dad on the payroll as consultants as part of that installment sale, so you're still getting a little bit of you're getting some work out of mom and dad as opposed to just having to pay the loan back.
Well, certainly. And again, if on the other side, let's just say that you're in a very good financial position, maybe you don't need the money. Don't look at me like that, honey. You can begin to gift the stock to the kids. The problem with gifting stock during life is that life transfer at the cost basis, which is probably pretty low for mom and dad if they started the business. Right?
They're gifting their cost basis as well.
Exactly. They're not gifting fair market value. If they wait until death, then what happens is they get a step up.
A step up in basis.
Exactly, just like any other security would occur, and then what happens is they're inheriting at fair market value, which is kind of a nice thing. One thing that many business owners don't know, but they've heard about, is a thing called a golden parachute, which is really an income continuation plan.
That's how is that how large executives end up with those huge payouts?
Exactly.
When they leave? Exactly.
Or so how is there a tax deductible way for the boys to help mom and dad out the door? Well, there is. They create an agreement basically that says for past services rendered and future consulting services, they're going to receive an income. Usually it's for a stated period of years. They can, if they do that, they can continue maybe to participate in the benefits of the plan if they're still considered employees in doing that. And obviously they can avoid large capital gains because they're not purchasing the stock, right? Parents aren't selling it. They're not purchasing it. So they could maybe gift stock or wait to gift until death, but take an income continuation agreement. They make that kind of easy. So what we typically see is even if it isn't in family situations, where you have these, you have these situations you typically see where you have a part of an asset sale and then part of an income. Obviously the buyer wants it more income because buying assets is a non-deductible expense. Salary isn't.
Right.
So structuring these is important, and that's why, having obviously a good attorney, draw the documents, a good accountant, value the business, and hopefully somebody who's an advisor that can say, hey, are you thinking about this? Are you thinking about that?
And again, these strategies we're talking about family businesses are closely held because we often work with people in the family business situations, but these strategies would also work if you are a closely held business attempting to sell your business even to not a family member, or you're attempting to sell it to an employee. We've had those situations arise before, or you're just attempting to put your business on the market. What are some of the things you should be thinking about in terms of taxation and your own longevity? It's not just necessarily a one-time cash payment.
And fortunately, I've been doing this for 50 years. So 45 years. And it's really been fun because every situation is a little bit different, but the more tax deductible you can make it, which means that the owner, the one who's selling it is paying more in income taxes, then the higher price you can get to. It's all good. Right?
Absolutely.
It's a little bit of fun. So again, we appreciate you listening to our first hour of the show.
That's right.
We've got about 30 seconds left. You can give us a call if you want. We'll carry it over the next hour at 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. We're going to talk about Medicare next hour.
That's right. When we get back, we'll kick off hour number 2 with Medicare.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talking Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Straight Talk on Retirement. We usually kick this hour off with Medicare, but Steve has been patiently waiting on the line. He's got an IRA question, so let's kick hour number 2 off with Steve. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate you all. You do a great service to everyone, and thank you for them.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Very much appreciate the
Checks
kind
in
comments.
the mail.
I didn't really start doing well in trying to save till later in life, and so I have X amount in an IRA. My wife has X amount in an IRA. It's not a lot, but I opened up 2 or 3 years ago a Roth IRA. Myself, I'm 3 years in my Roth. I opened up one for my wife. I'm 69. She's 68. With that, is there an age limit that I can't contribute to the Roth? I heard your message earlier that as long as you're making $7,000 income, $7,000 you could put in, $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I own my own company, make some money. No, here's the $64 question. Can I put all? My wife has a work, I guess, retirement program, 403B. She has a 403B, but as soon as we take that money out, it's going to be taxed because it's before tax time. Would it be best advisable to throw all her money into the IRA and just bite the bullet 1 year and pay all the taxes on that? She has good genes, so she's going to live 20, 25, 30 years. I mean, she will.
Well, I think you can achieve kind of the best of both worlds, Steve, which is the 403b's got a much higher contribution limit than your IRA or your wife's IRA. You get the tax deduction for the year that you're putting the money in. But when your wife retires or when you decide that you're going to start needing money from that 403b, you don't have to take it all at once. You can take it as you need it over time. Now, when your wife gets to 73 as of right now, there is a requirement to take about 4% out per year. But that's the most that you would have. But that's the most that you would have to take out, the required minimum distribution requirement every year. So you wouldn't have to bite the bullet and take it all out at one time and pay the taxes. So the nice thing is what you're doing is you're creating larger tax deductions in the years that you have higher income because you're you own your own business. And then secondly, you're creating longevity of the account because you're only having to pull what you need from it and pay taxes on that as you go. But the Roths are great. That's a nice addition to your portfolio.
Steve, if I could add something here.
Please.
I think at the end of the day, there's I call it the continuing myth about Roth, which is when you and your wife are both retired, you're getting your Social Security benefits. You're electing them. You're receiving them. If your income is less than $90,000, you're only going to be in the 11% tax bracket. So if you want to bite the bullet, you're going to pay a lot more in taxes right now than when you're retired. So
that's what I needed to hear. I didn't know what the number was. That was my second question. What is the numerical number because I hear different advisors on the radio, and they say, well, most seniors are not cognitive of how much they'll have to pay in taxes once they retire on their Social Security, their once they pull that out, and they make a lot less. And they talk about how you can restructure and do different things. And of course, they're trying to get your business as well, and I understand that. But
well, that's fine. Let me just add this.
Yes.
We have about I don't know. We're allowed to say how many?
I don't know if we're allowed to say. We have many families.
We have many. we have many families. We've been on. All of our clients are folks that are like you. They're people that have heard us on the radio. They call us afterwards and they want to come in and visit. And eventually, some of them become clients. Okay. What I would tell you is that less than 10%
pay more than 15% in taxes.
Exactly. They just don't. So it does. So it does. So
well, that's because
there's just a myth. I mean, there's just a myth about paying more. I mean, number one is that your Social Security benefits
are not fully taxable.
That's right.
Even if you're the highest income bracket, you're only going to pay 85% of your Social Security benefits.
Are subject to tax, right? So you get a discount there. But number two is if you're only pulling required minimum distributions from your IRAs, you're only pulling 4%. So if you have a $500,000 IRA, as an example, let's say, again, 403B, whatever you might call it, you're only pulling $20,000 a year. Well, you add that to your Social Security benefits, which probably are running between the two of you, let's just say $5,000, $5,500, $6,000 a month. Okay?
No, let's say $2,400 combined.
Okay. Well, if you're $2,400 combined, guess what, my friend? There's no way that you would ever convert.
The reason why people, we weren't talking about conversion. I think they were just talking about where do we put the money now. But the
tax deductions today are more valuable. I mean, frankly, Roth doesn't make any sense for you.
Well, right, because you're not going to be able to take advantage. You're not really taking advantage of it because if you're in the 10% tax bracket at retirement, and the reason that is the case, I just want to backtrack a little bit, is because when we plan retirement, we're planning for what you're living off of. So what is your monthly expense? What are your annual expenses? You're paying taxes on your gross income and you're living off of the net. We're going to fund to the net amount of your income, meaning you're only going to pay taxes on the net now as opposed to on the gross. So you're automatically going to be 40% less expensive in taxes.
Yes.
At least that's how we generally see things going.
You're right, honey. And what I would also add is the reality of Roth. We get calls every single week. The clients are saying, hey, you know what? I need $20,000 for this, or I need $30,000 for this, or I need $50,000 because I'm going to redo my kitchen, or I want to buy a new car. The first place that they go to is their Roth.
Right, they're not living off of a monthly income from the Roth.
Roth is not for income purposes. Roth is for I need a hunk of money and I don't want to take it out of my taxable retirement account. So even with, and we do have a few clients that have over $100,000 in sizable Roth IRAs, but guess what? That's where we're consuming the money from. So save your dough.
Take the deductions when you're in the higher brackets.
Exactly. Deductions today are worth more than deductions in the future, and save your taxes and have a good day.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. All right, now let me ask you another question. Since you're going to the Medicare hour,
yes,
I wish earlier in life I would have got a long-term care benefit. And I don't know if you guys deal with any of that, and probably because of my age, my health, and different variables, I'm probably ineligible. Is there anything out there for somebody like me?
Well, you're actually you said you were 68, correct?
69.
69. So you're actually just underneath the cusp of really being eligible for all of the options depending upon your health. So you're still eligible for what they call a comprehensive policy, which looks kind of like a health insurance policy in the sense that you're paying annual premiums, and when you trigger your benefit by losing 2 activities of daily living, that's when your benefit kicks in for you. So you're still eligible for that. So is your wife. And then they also have asset-based products, which will actually extend your ability to secure them up until about age 80. So you still have all of your options on the table. And truly, we don't usually recommend securing long-term care unless there is some sort of family issue in the past until about 65. So you're not too far off from when we're really having more poignant conversations with clients about long-term care benefits.
Yes, healthcare, long-term care is very difficult to. It's not easy to get on an underwritten basis, but many of our clients are using, as Aaron was saying, asset-based solutions, which means maybe they have CDs that are sitting there, and what we're able to do is convert those into contracts that can also provide not only interest payments, but also long-term care benefits. So a couple of really good questions for this hour. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126. From the text line, but I think it's time.
Because you care, we talk Medicare.
That's right. We are going to talk Medicare today. And this is one of Rob's favorite topics, this particular Medicare topic. So I know he's going to enjoy this morning. Frank had a great conversation with Bill this past week, who has been on Medicare since 2018. He selected a Plan G supplement along with a standalone prescription drug plan. And he called because he said he heard us on the radio several weeks ago talking about the expected rate increases on supplemental plans, that we could see anywhere between 15 and 20% for the upcoming year, which we've heard to be true.
And, Bill was never interested in a Medicare Advantage plan. And therefore, he'd always just let his Plan G roll over while his premium increased on average about 5% a year.
Which really isn't so bad, because if we're looking at in 2018, he started on Plan G at about $140 a month. And by the time we got to 2023, he saw an 8% increase in 2023, so a little bit more than that 5%. He's up to about $183 a month. So over the course of, 6 years, he saw 5 years, he saw about a $40 a month increase.
Yeah, no, that's that's doable given the 5% incremental nature of what was, but now with what's coming down the pike, it could be a little bit different for Bill.
That's right, and that's why he said, because of the expected rate increases, even on the low end at 15%, his monthly premium is going to increase about $27 a month. So that's almost 50% of what he saw over a 5-year period is all going to happen at one time.
And we've now cracked almost $210.
That's right. So, and he said after, 6 years, he's going to pay $70 more a month for the exact same benefits. And that's true. And really,
nothing has been added.
Nothing's been added. And really, if we take a look at a Plan G supplement, which will cover everything that Medicare covers except for your Part B deductible, he's actually been paying a little bit more every year out of pocket, because the Part B deductible went from $155 in 2018. It's up to $240 now.
That's a nice 50% increase.
And also, that's almost 1 month of premium that he's paying increase over that Part B deductible over the years. So, Frank asked Bill, our Medicare coach, why did you select the supplement? When you sat down with a professional, because he actually hadn't sat down with us back in 2018, he was working with someone else. How did they guide you to the supplement, or what was your thought process behind that? Did you have a family history? Did you have anything going on that was medically related? And he said, I spoke to someone on the phone.
They told him it was the best plan, and he said, okay, sign me up for it.
And that's not uncommon, especially for individuals that are jumping onto Medicare directly from their health insurance plans through work. Let's say you had a United Healthcare policy at work. Your inclination is to call up United Healthcare and ask them what's the best option. Maybe they say it's a supplement. Now, United Healthcare offers both supplements and Medicare Advantage plans, but you might have been with a plan that only offers supplements. You call them up, they're going to show you a supplement. So he was guided towards the supplement, and Bill said although he's not completely set on switching plans, he was preparing for open enrollment this year and just wanted to have a preliminary chat about what Medicare Advantage would look like versus his supplement.
Well, just over the past 6 years, Bill has spent about $11,500 in premiums only. Meaning in another 5 or 6 years, if Bill continues this trend, he'll end up spending $20,000 in premiums. That's a lot.
Well, if we take the average maximum out of pocket of a Medicare Advantage plan at $3,000, he's already saved He already spent 6.5 years.
He's almost on his 7th year.
That's right, of maximum out of pockets that he's given over to the insurance company.
It was the worst year of Bill's life every year because he was paying as though, I mean, if he had a Medicare Advantage plan, he would have been hitting his max out of pocket every year with the premiums. And now with the increases added on top of that, maybe he didn't have any interest in looking at a Medicare Advantage plan, but now all of a sudden he's interested.
So then we said, let's drill down into the numbers really of your use of your policy over the last 6 years. And so we just asked, how often have you been using your health insurance over the last 6 years? Bill's got he has AFib, so he sees his cardiologist 2 or 3 times a year. He also has a pulmonologist because he has COPD, so he sees about 2 or 3 times a year. And he sees his primary care doctor 2 times a year.
So not a exhaustive list of meetings and series of appointments. I mean, seems very cookie cutter.
True, but he does have some ongoing issues, and I think this is important to point out for individuals that are considering Medicare Advantage versus a supplement, that you can have a chronic illness like COPD or AFib, and a Medicare Advantage plan still may work for you depending upon your usage of the policy. So when people talk about, if you're healthy, you take Medicare Advantage. If you're not healthy, you take a supplement. I have never really ascribed to that thought process because, first of all, you are your own determinant of if you feel healthy or sick or not. So that's really not a good basis, a mathematical or scientific evaluation, because we all know people that you would just love if they went to the doctor. They are probably not well, but they're not using their health insurance at all, sick, healthy. And then we also know many people, probably, or at least I know a few in my life, that are perfectly healthy, will outlive us all, but they will see every doctor.
Doctor shop?
That's right. They'll see every doctor they can.
Going for my 9th opinion?
Well, going till they get the opinion that you want, which is also a completely fine way to use healthcare. But we're going to look at how do you actually consume care. If you're someone that only goes to the doctor like Bill when he needs to, maybe a Medicare Advantage plan is a good consideration for you. If you're someone that is a frequent flyer, unfortunately, of the healthcare world, then maybe a supplement is the best choice for you. But in having this conversation with Bill, we find that, 2 visits to the primary, that's nothing. 0 copays for your primary care visits. Depending upon which policy you choose, if you were to look at a Medicare Advantage plan, you'd be looking at, anywhere from $25 to $50 for a visit to a specialist. So if we said, 6 times a year, even at the most expensive.
6 times 30. 180,
about 100. So we're talking
about, and I'm
about
scaling it up.
Right.
Not even gonna.
So we're talking 1 month's premium
for a year's worth of
services.
Of visits.
Exactly. So, in our opinion, it will make sense for Bill to have a longer conversation with Frank when the plans are released October 1st, to have a conversation about, does it make sense to make a switch to a Medicare Advantage plan? And the other great news is that Bill is going to have, I call it the trap door. You get a 1-year free look the first time you're on Medicare Advantage that says you can go back to your supplement if you decide that Medicare Advantage is not the way.
You tried it. It wasn't for you. You want to have your supplement. Easy to go back to.
You go right back, no medical underwriting, so that even means that Bill's COPD and AFib will not factor into his ability to get back into the supplement within that first year, so he gets to try out an alternative, see if he likes it. And the other great thing is that even if we were using this year's numbers, if Bill's current premium is $183 a month, so that's $2,200 a year. Even if Bill has the worst year of his life, he may only spend a few dollars more. We didn't even factor in the prescription drug plan that he has to couple with his supplement.
That's got to be probably at least $100 a month.
Right. Probably between
75 and
at the
110,
max,
something like that.
Like a $25 copay, probably a premium for a prescription drug plan. Don't juke the stats too much.
Don't want to juke it too much, but it would be something added onto that.
Exactly.
So it wouldn't be a stretch to say conservatively between his Part D premium and the
right. So let's
supplement.
just call it $25 a month. That's another $300. So we're looking at $2,500 a year in premium versus $2,800 in maximum out of pocket.
Right.
And that doesn't include all the extra benefits that right now are being offered through the Medicare Advantage plan. So one of the topics I always like to cover, and I know we'll be covering it as soon as the plans are released in October, is I kind of like to do the math on if you utilize the extra benefits, the hearing, the dental, the vision, the silver sneakers, the over-the-counter benefit, the copay card, if that's available to you, the fitness benefit that Aetna offers.
If you're gonna, what is that? When we factor that into the budget, what do those numbers look like?
And at least this year, we find that clients are taking money from the insurance company, even if they've hit their maximum out of pocket, because they're able to get more than $2,800 in additional benefits from the insurance companies if they utilize all of the extras that are afforded to them. Now, Dad, have you submitted any of your Aetna fitness benefit allowances yet? Delinquent.
You're right. I have that new Callaway driver that I am going to be submitting.
Well, the people want to hear what is getting through and what is not. So we need you to start submitting because there's only 5 months left in the year to submit for that Aetna fitness benefit.
Yeah, I better do that quickly because I may have to get a second one.
You need the cash back.
Exactly.
I don't even know how much drivers cost.
They're not cheap.
$600?
Yeah, but I have a trade-in.
A trade-in?
I'm going to trade my old club in.
Oh my God.
I didn't even know you could do such a thing.
Trade it in? It's like a car?
It
at least
retains value.
Sure. Why not?
So it's a shafted? Is it called reshafting?
No, honey, they're selling it to somebody else.
Oh,
so someone's running around with your hand-me-down club.
I wouldn't call it they're getting all that good mojo. Well, we'll see. I will be submitting that very soon. Promise. Yeah, I'm interested in finding out because also I have some green fees that I incurred when I was out of town, when I was in California. Which should be covered.
Yes, and I did hear from a client that greens fees are covered, but cart fees are not covered. So you want to make sure that the bill you have only reflects the greens fees. Some golf courses, it is my understanding, wrap everything together. It's a green fee.
Nice.
You get the cart with it. Or some will break it out for their own accounting. It's reflected on the bill, greens fee, then cart fee. Some processors are
that's not an issue for me.
Understood. I was just clarifying for all of our golfers out there. Just ask the course for a bill that doesn't reflect the
I was
cart
just
fee.
going to say that. Can I get something handwritten without the breakout?
They can itemize it, which is just the greens fee and then the cart.
Itemize it.
If they don't itemize,
don't want it itemized because Aetna hasn't been covering the cart fees.
What I'm saying is you itemize, which is the greens fee A and then the cart fee separate so that you can highlight and go, I want the greens fee.
Or if it's all wrapped into one, then you get the money back for all of it.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
No.
So, hey, we're just trying to help.
Return the over-the-counter stuff to the store.
I have the back cart, so I didn't have to get reimbursed.
If you steal items from CVS, it's great.
It's not stealing. They were bought by the insurance company, and you have an allowance, and
you would like it in cash, not in toilet paper.
I know I'm taking
an Advil liquid gel caps. Is that what they're called?
You're you're purchasing those with your over-the-counter benefit. What do you have, like 600 bottles now?
Yes.
You never have enough.
Hey, they don't go bad, I don't think. That's not medical advice. I take that back.
Well, sure, Claritin D, that type of stuff. Sure.
That's good stuff.
The one I couldn't think of the other day was Zicam. The cold suppressor. That's a good one to stock up on.
We talk about Aetna a lot, but for our clients on the United Healthcare plan, that over-the-counter benefit apparently is significantly more robust in terms of options available. And United always seems to be ahead of the game in terms of their technology. They have an app on your phone. You can download an app onto your phone and literally scan items at Walgreens to determine if they're part of the over-the-counter benefit, which I think is just a nice extra ease in accessing the benefit.
Your mom was giving me grief about that.
Oh, because she can do it?
Yeah, because she has United Healthcare. I have Aetna.
Right. See, so not every family has to choose the same. That's another delightful benefit of Medicare, is that you don't have to be tied to your spouse any longer. Obviously spouse's health can be different, but also if you're both in similar health, seeing similar physicians, you might be attracted to extra benefits on one plan versus another. So it all just depends.
I'm hoping
that
Aetna's going to continue this benefit next year, because then we're going to talk about your mom switching over to Aetna. And then I can get new irons and a driver.
Hey, he's just going to piggyback on her.
Absolutely.
He's just going to take that benefit.
Well, what if she wants to buy something?
Yeah, right.
You know what?
She would be back with United Healthcare if not for the switch. So
there you go.
Safeguard your potential benefit, Mom. Better go spend it first.
Absolutely. Well, again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
Why don't we take our first break of this hour? When we get back, we've got another Social Security question on deck.
So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
Barron-Mir Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirrors, glass, and shower doors. You can't find better quality, better prices, or even better service than at Barron-Mir Glass and Door. Barron-Mir Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs. Our must-see showroom is conveniently located in Chesterfield Valley. We have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron-Mir Glass and Door can't be beat.
I'm Dr. Candace Carter Oliver, CEO of Confluence Academies. Our goals are clear: to serve the whole child with a collective impact, to make pathful connections, to offer public education with innovative programs, and to be a pathway to college, careers, and the arts. Your tax-deductible gift helps us recruit top-notch teachers, offer diverse programs, and maintain our school facilities. Be a catalyst for change. Visit confluenceacademy.org.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back to the show. It's 10:33 here on the Big 550 KTRS. We're open for your calls and text 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the Getting Hot and Heavy text line.
That's right.
And our next texter writes, I stock up on Band-Aids with my extra quote-unquote must-spend dollars.
See, this is what I love. You have to take advantage of the benefits in order for them to be maintained. Especially, we've been talking quite a bit this year about how there's going to be a lot of changes to the 2025 plan designs. The only way the companies know that they are enticing you with these benefits is if you actually use them. So if you have a few extra dollars, but and you couldn't find what you wanted, on the over the counter, spend the money anyway, because that way that's going to tell Aetna, that's going to tell United, that's going to tell Humana, all the other companies. This is a benefit that the enrollees value, which means they're going to try to hold on to it over other benefits. So you love the dental, maximize the dental, so on and so forth. If they see that a benefit is being underutilized, they're going to pull money from that benefit either to put it somewhere else or to put it back into the plan somewhere else, lower the maximum out of pocket or maintain it, whatever the case may be. So you are a crucial participant in what the plan designs look like in the future. So great to hear that. Now, this next text question, I think that if this individual is looking for a part-time job, that this is really clever. So I turned 70 in June and are planning to wait 6 months to file for my Social Security. Any pros or cons in getting the 6-month lump sum? I do have a reason for waiting, but it might not be a good enough reason to wait. So what Social Security allows you to do is, because you can elect your benefit once you turn 62, you can elect your benefit at any point. They did take away one of the options, which is a 1-year lump sum benefit to you, but they didn't, a lifetime lump sum benefit to you, which is allowing you to go all the way back to 62 and taking the full lump sum and then having your benefit start at 70. So let's say, but it would be your 62 benefit because you took this whole lump sum in between. They eliminated that option, but they did not eliminate a lump sum altogether. They still offer a 6-month lump sum. For most people, this might not make sense because what they're going to do is backdate your benefit to 6 months prior. So that means you get a lump sum for 6 months, but they are going to reduce your benefit lifetime by 4% because you get an 8% increase year over year. But once you turn 70, there's no more increases or decreases. You've hit the absolute maximum that you're going to get. So if you wait 6 months to elect your benefit, take the lump sum, you're still going to get the $70 amount that you waited to accrue. And if he's waiting 6 months, June, that means the lump sum won't come until January. So you would be accruing, you would see all of that income in 2025 as opposed to 2024. So if the reason, and I'm conjecturing here, you're waiting until next year to do this is because you had a large capital gain or maybe a large payout, or you had a big taxable event this year and you want to push into next year, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, or the person could still be working.
Right, or they have a large taxable event, meaning income.
Very clever.
I think it makes a lot of sense, and you're not even doing anything to shoot yourself in the foot because you already waited the whole time. So you're not really giving an interest-free loan to the government. You may be saying, hey, I want to change the taxation of my Social Security a little bit.
I confirm that thinking.
Great idea, sir. Or could be a lady.
There you go.
Never know.
Absolutely.
Great planning idea.
Yes. And again, phone lines are open, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
And Texter, you're free to follow up with any comments if we were off track with our thoughts here, because I love that idea. We just don't see a lot of people waiting until 70 to take their benefit.
Like no one. So
maybe if they own their own business and they're still working, that kind of thing.
I think we've had 2 people that have done it over.
You didn't even wait to take your Social Security benefit.
No, I'm still waiting, but only because I'm lazy.
I thought you elected it.
No, I'm going to.
Sometime.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, whatever.
Okay, fair enough.
Not a problem. I mean, it's interesting because this is sort of.
Are the increases enticing you?
No. Oh. This is great. What should we do if we don't need the money? I mean, that's really what the subject of this next little vignette is about. So let's talk a little bit about that. And this is very typical for us. Tom and Darlene have been clients of ours for many years, about 9 years. They're both turning 73 this year.
Oh, at the same time.
At the same time. So what happens is, for them, this is a magic year. And they're required to take distributions from their IRA accounts, which total about $850,000. So we're looking at approximately a $34,000 gross required minimum distribution, which will generate $2,650 net of taxes. Couple of facts, right?
Let's give them some facts.
They have 2 children and 4 grandchildren.
Wow.
They use $3,000. They will use $3,000 of the $26,500 to pay property taxes and insurance on their home because they've already paid off their home. Not unusual. And we're setting aside $3,500 for travel expenses so they can go see the grandkids who happen to live out of town. They're currently reinvesting the $20,000. That's what they want to do net with us today. And that's what they're thinking about in their TOD account. What should we be thinking about for them? Maybe in making this a little more valuable in terms of increasing what I like to think of as the family wealth transfer today, as well as at their death. A couple things, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe even giving gifts to the heirs as annually needed.
We got about $20,000 remaining.
Right, and they can certainly dole that out to their children and or grandchildren. It's easy to do. They could also pre-fund, think about, the income tax liability on the beneficiary IRA accounts, because we know that when their children and or grandchildren inherit these IRAs, they're going to have to pay tax. They have to empty them within 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to create about a $240,000 income tax liability. So they might consider the possibility of looking at life insurance as an example, if one of them or both of them are insurable.
And the cool thing is they would be able to either say, I would like to match the face amount with my $20,000 that I have remaining, or they can pick a face amount up to that would cost up to the $20,000. So they really get to
decide how much of that tax liability they'd like to
customize
this is not the 995 plan. Okay.
Right. But they get to customize it based on their excess income.
So in their particular case, for Darlene, who happens to be, well, again, female rates are considered 5 years younger than male rates. A $250,000 death benefit on her would be $9,000 per year. So they could take part of that $20,000 and use it to purchase a death benefit if they wanted to help pre-fund the income tax liability for those IRAs.
And that's
still have $11,000 of fund money.
You took the words right out of my mouth. They're going to use less than half of the balance that they're required to take to essentially create another $250,000 of capital.
Yes, or they could consider what I would call a Roth conversion.
Knew that was coming. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was coming.
Like the only person on the radio just bashing away on the Roth conversions.
You know, I guess I could say I'm jealous.
Of?
Well, I've never been eligible to make a Roth contribution because of my income. And also now I'm not going to do a conversion because I don't like you and your sister enough.
We could always reduce your pay.
What fun is that?
Well, I mean, if you're worried about the taxes, we could offset that for you.
Well, no, look. Let's take an example.
Left him speechless.
No. I let you have the checkbook, honey. It's because you're good. So let's just say that someone had a large 401k or IRA plan. Let's say it's $1 million. And they would like to convert that to a Roth IRA, let's say over, I don't know.
10 years.
Over a 10-year period.
How old are they?
I don't care how old they are. 10 years is a long time.
That's fair. Okay.
Who knows if they're going to live that long? But let's just assume for fun that they said,
So that's like $100,000 a year.
$100,000 a year.
Exactly. And if they're in a higher income tax bracket, they could be paying anywhere from 35 to 40% in federal income taxes.
Gone off the top.
Bye-bye. That's
See
right.
ya.
So that means
Out the door.
the $100,000
As well as all the interest on that money.
Oh, that
forever too.
So that means that on the $100,000 doesn't go into the Roth. It means 60-ish thousand goes into the Roth.
Yes, but their loving children would certainly want them to pull $40,000 out of their savings to pay the taxes. So it could be a true $100,000 conversion. In either case, you're still looking at $400,000 is gone.
Versus $9,000 over 10 years.
Yeah,
is $9,000 or $90,000.
Exactly. I mean, it's literally a simple algebra problem. And if that person didn't have a Roth, guess what? if this was their first Roth conversion, they couldn't even touch the money without paying tax on the interest for 5 years. Not the best scenario in the world.
Well, even if you were someone like when we were talking with Steve, our caller earlier, about income tax brackets and retirement, even if you were someone, you said, I'm going to wait until I retire to do these Roth conversions because then I'll be in a lower tax bracket, you still have to have money to live off of. So we were using Steve's example. He's going to be about $90,000, which puts him, right in the 12% tax bracket. But that's progressive. So that means you're, like you said, Dad, probably paying between 10 and 11% in taxes at $90,000 because the first $23,000 is only 10%. So as we go through the tax brackets, it's going to be blended. If you add $100,000 to 90, you've now put yourself in the 22% tax bracket. So even with waiting into retirement to do these Roth conversions, if you want to do them over like you said, 10 years is a pretty extended period of time, but any protracted amount of time you want to do a significant conversion, you're going to be looking at paying significantly more in taxes just to do it.
Yeah, and
not
your
to
Medicare,
mention
and
your
Medicare.
Part
and
B
if you're
premiums.
blowing through the tax brackets, that could have a adverse effect on your Part B premiums through IRMA. I mean, so there's a lot of reasons to do a Roth conversion. We're just not coming up with good ones.
I guess that's a good point.
No, I mean, if you feel that it's important to pass money on income tax free
there are
to
other ways
your
to
heirs,
do it.
there are alternative ways to do it. Period. I mean, for most people, there's alternative ways to do it. One of the great ones that isn't talked about truly is the step up in basis to fair market value at date of death. Just put money aside in savings if you want to. Invest it in growth-oriented securities. Let that grow. Hold that until your death, and guess what?
They get it tax-free.
They get it income tax-free, the inheritance, and also they get it at fair market value. They could sell it out the next day, and they're paying no taxes. So there's lots of ways to do it. This Roth conversion, whichever one we want to call it, it just doesn't make sense. And I guess for me, the reason I'm even more jaded, okay, I'm a little jealous, but I'm more jaded is that we don't see clients using their Roths for income purposes. They just don't need it. I mean, they need it for the big stuff, and that's what they end up using it. And so, we love that our clients, many of them are very, they're very well off. 500 million, 2 million, et cetera. Portfolios, it's large. Especially if they're taxable. There's no way they want to, they don't want to, I mean, I want to go out and buy this. I mean, you can't believe how many trucks that we've helped folks purchase recently, and they're $70,000, $80,000. It's like,
oh my God,
I don't want a payment. I'm like, I understand. So let's pull $100,000 out of your IRA so that we can pay for a $70,000 truck.
And that's even more painful.
And that's after after they're done with convulsions, they're like, no, thank you. Oh, but you have Roth. Oh, great. Income tax free. Let's pull that out. Let's look at your non-retirement assets. Let's pull it out.
And the other,
I guess that's what the difference is. The
honestly, actual administration of a plan and seeing people in action versus does this whatever financial sense it does or doesn't make.
I don't have any issue with Jim Cramer. I think he's a great entertainer. Susie Orman, I don't think she's as great of an entertainer. But people that don't actually work with other people's money directly, they have to look them in the eye and help them make these decisions. It's easy to be professorial. You should do it this way. It would be better. But the truth is it isn't. I mean, and that's and I guess that's why we call it Straight Talk.
Well, because we have the nice thing is we have some experience working with not just one person, but a diverse group of people over an extended period of time. So we have our own, test group, so to speak, of what common practices and what common habits are amongst retirees, and they do change over time, but this is something that is relatively consistent. The other thing I would mention is you are in the majority of people if the majority of your money is in retirement accounts because you followed conventional wisdom and you did a smart thing, which was you use your tax deductions in your higher income earning years over time, putting money into pre-tax accounts. Most people most individuals, especially if you worked for a large company because you had access to a 401k or a 403b or another or 457, another type of plan that gave you relatively high limits in terms of your contributions on an annual basis, plus employer contributions, you don't have a lot of after-tax money built up because you already did all of your savings before you got your paycheck, and then you spent what you received. So you're doing everything the right way.
Amen.
Most people don't have $40,000 a year of excess capital outside of their retirement accounts to pay the taxes on these Roth
by the way,
conversions.
but that's 1 year.
Right, that's just 1 year. So you need $400,000 theoretically of after-tax dollars that you don't have to pay capital gains taxes on. So most likely you're not having it sit in a money market account because they weren't earning anything until 2 years ago.
I love this country, but I'm not that much of a patriot, to be honest with you.
So
I was waiting for the patriotic angle.
Well, it's true.
Don't have to pay the taxes before they're due.
So getting back to Tom and Darlene, this is not unusual. Folks don't need the money. So what are we helping them do? First of all, let's talk about doing things that you're already doing. If you've paid off your mortgage, you don't have one. Well, then you're still having to deal with real estate tax and insurance. Typically, you're saving the money away. Guess what? You don't have to do that anymore. We'll send it to you. Charitable deductions. If you're making charitable deductions, guess what? We can reduce your RMDs by making those contributions for you,
right,
directly from the custodian. And we can also talk about maybe effective gift programs. I do want to go back to Steve for a minute, our caller, because I didn't get to say this, and I probably should have. And this is advice that I typically give most folks. I mean, and it's not general advice. It really just seems to work. Maximize your tax-deductible contributions first, and then do Roth.
The other thing
that's really what the rule of thumb is. Save your taxes today, and then if you're eligible, then you do Roth.
The other thing that I thought you were going to mention to Steve, because he commented that he is a business owner, which is that is even the IRA the right retirement vehicle for you anymore? Because if you're a small business owner, most likely you have significantly more than that. If you're over $58,000 of income that you could defer somewhere, IRAs and Roth IRAs have the lowest maximum contribution limits of any type of retirement plan. You have other options depending upon how your business is constructed, how many employees you have.
Right. You have under 100, you could do a simple IRA, which would more than double your contributions availability.
A SEP
if you're self-employed and you don't have too many people, because that's an employer plan. But we're looking at this stuff all the time.
Or they even have solo 401ks still in existence,
yes,
right? That could potentially be an option that would give you a higher limit on your contributions.
Absolutely. So it's good to always look at your tax-deductible contributions today, because when you retire, you will be in a lower bracket, period, or the same. You'll never be higher.
And with that very definitive statement, let's take our second break of the hour.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Center field, it's deep to the track, to the wall, and it's gone. Matt Carpenter has homered again.
Summertime in St. Louis means Cardinals baseball. Head to the ballpark the weekend of July 12th through the 14th when the Cardinals host the Chicago Cubs. This weekend showdown includes a Saturday day-night doubleheader. Tickets start at just $15. That's the Cardinals and the Cubs July 12th through the 14th at Busch Stadium. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com.
This is Matt Carpenter, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Michaelis brings it home. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Have a cold one. On the Cardinals, don't miss Budweiser's first Beer Fridays at Busch Stadium. Tickets start at just $15 and include your first beer on the house. Each first Beer Friday ticket will be loaded with Cards Cash that can be used to purchase a Budweiser, Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, or any beverage of choice. For full details or to purchase tickets, visit Cardinals.com/Friday.
This is Miles Michaelis. Get your tickets now at Cardinals.com.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. 0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, we're back. It's your last chance to fire in the coaches. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. We've got about 5 minutes left.
And our next texter writes, I am looking for an advisor who works with regular people. I want someone who will talk to me and not over my head. How would you describe the people that you work with? Just like you.
I want to say that, I don't want to say they're irregulars.
Irregulars.
I like it when you say there are people usually just outside the boardroom.
Right. Yeah, most of our clients have worked for other people. We do have some business owners, which is nice, but most of them,
owners.
Right. I mean, we're talking about we have a lot of nurses. We have a lot of teachers,
mail carriers,
policemen,
firefighters as well,
electricians,
chefs,
carpenters. I mean, we just have a lot of regular folks, and I think what's important is regular folks can have the same level of sophisticated planning as other folks. That's what we deliver for folks. So that's a really good question. We just got one from Phil from Creve Coeur who said, I've been a listener for several years. I also listen to other radio shows on your station and others. Many of the advisors require a minimum level of investable assets to call them. Do you have a minimum?
We do not.
And we never have.
But we do have another text question that's come in.
And our next texter writes, my wife and I have accumulated a little over $6 million in retirement savings. Congratulations. She is 58. I am 62. We live comfortably using the 4% withdrawal rate on.
Sure.
And if we take Social Security at 65 and 63, we'll receive about $70,000 annually. Does it make sense to put some money into an annuity? Should we be conservative and put some in CDs? If we retire now, is Obamacare the best option for health insurance? Even with our savings, we still hesitate to retire. Thoughts? And can we safely go to a 5% withdrawal rate? So we have a few questions here.
There's a bunch of these.
So first question is, do we need an annuity?
The answer is it doesn't sound like you have a need for one. One reason that someone might consider an annuity, possibly yourself, is if you want to lock down an income base. But this would really be something that would be locked down after 65, which typically would be in tandem with your Social Security benefits.
Right.
So first question really is, how much does it cost to maintain your lifestyle from an expense point of view? What portion of your investments is going to be required to create that income flow, that 4%? And does it make sense to have an annuity? Some folks would say, yeah, you know what, let's lock it up and be done. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
Because on a $6 million portfolio, 4% would be $240,000 gross per year. Correct?
Yes, exactly.
So net, that's going to be about $200, correct?
Yes.
So is that enough in tandem with your Social Security? And then the next question is, should we be conservative and put some in CDs?
Yes.
CDs are always a good component, especially with the rates right now.
Yeah. What I would suggest is that maybe you might consider this in a different perspective. If I was in your position, what I would probably think is that if I had certain reasons to spend large amounts of capital, let's say I'm going to do a kitchen remodel or I'm going to replace a car, what I might consider doing is moving some assets into a safer place.
And laddering them when you know you're going to need the money, so you're earning some interest on.
But then keeping the rest of your money invested and growing and doing its thing. So that's a conservative approach, and frankly, it's one that you can really afford.
And also the last question, is Obamacare the best option for health insurance? Most likely, well, Obamacare is going to be your main option after the 18 months when you and your wife retire respectively. You might decide not to retire at the same time in order to maintain one individual's health insurance for an extended period of time, because, husband can jump onto wife and vice versa, depending upon who retires first. Depending upon how your assets are held of that $6 million, we could discuss with you structuring your income for the 7 years before your wife turns 65 years old to moderating your income to the point where you would be eligible for a subsidy. But with that, we're going to have to say have a great weekend, and we will chat with you next week.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more Straight Talk on Retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.